Guess who? What is up, everyone? Hey, my name is Tyler Ramsby. I am guest hosting today for the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. Super excited to have you taking the time to hang out with me. Do want to let you know that today is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, and this is episode 912 of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. Let me go ahead and get chat pulled up. We'll get the overlay turned on, but it is so good to have all of you here. I missed you guys. I was here all of last week, and I am back again. Jerry is taking some good time off for the 4th of July weekend, and I am jumping on. Hang out with you guys, run the show. I'll do jaw jacking at the end as well. So let's go ahead and dive into things. Do want to let you know, if this is one of your first times here, this is an amazing show where we go through the top cyber news of the day. I give you my blind take on all of it. I have not prepped. I have not prepared besides getting the news stories pulled up. So this is like us sitting down at the water cooler, chilling. And you're like, hey, Tyler, did you hear about that story in the news? And I say, yeah, let me tell you my thoughts about it. This will prepare you for your day today. If you have an interview coming up, this will prepare you for the interview, because you can tell that interviewer when they ask you, hey, where do you get your news from? You can tell them, I get it from the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, a SANS award-winning podcast and live show. But hey, excited to have you here. If this is one of your first times, please drop hashtag first timer in chat so I can give you a proper welcome. Also, I'm not as cool as Jerry. I don't have all the sound effects. I am like a manual sound effect machine as we go through. But if this is your first time, once again, make sure you drop first timer in chat. I would love to give you a proper welcome to the Simply Cyber family and to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. And as you may see people in chat, this show is also worth half a CPE. So make sure you say hello in chat, grab a screenshot, store it away in your records in case you ever get audited, and you can get a half a CPE just by hanging out and learning this news stories right alongside of me. Now, before we go and shred the top cyber news for the day, we do have to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. The sponsors are the ones who make this show possible. And as I do this, I have a favor to ask of you. In the description of this video, you can find links to our sponsors. Click them. Check them out. Show them some love. Show them some support. Every single sponsor has been screened by the Simply Cyber team. Each one of these organizations is amazing. I have a video real quick I'm going to drop for Threat Locker, and then I'm going to just talk about the other sponsor. So let me go ahead and get the Threat Locker one pulled up. All right, here we go. Thank you to Threat Locker.
I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, Threat Locker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with Threat Locker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust Threat Locker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. Threat Locker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how Threat Locker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com.
Once again, big thank you to Threat Locker for the support. I have two other sponsors to talk about real quickly. The next one is Barricade Cyber. Now, you've likely heard of Barricade Cyber. It is led by the one and only Eric Taylor, and they help you with ransomware response and before ransomware hits and after ransomware hits to help you get everything back running. But Eric is doing a ransomware monthly update today. This is happening in approximately 4 hours. I'm going to grab a link to this and drop this in chat just in case you, for some reason, don't see it. But let me grab this, drop it in chat. Make sure you mark the notification thing. You know what? I'm not signed in. I'm pretty sure I am subscribed if I do sign into my profile. But this is going on once again today in 4 hours, roughly 4 hours from now, the ransomware monthly update for June of 2025. It will be an amazing show. So thank you to Barricade Cyber for making the Daily Cyber Threat Briefing possible, and make sure you check out their live stream later on today. Another sponsor that we have, of course, is Antisyphon, and there is an Anticast happening on July 9th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. with the one and only Jason Haddix. Now, if you've never attended any courses or heard any teaching by Jason, you are missing out. Not only is he an incredible human being on like a personal level, he is an amazing, amazing instructor, and he is doing this anti-cast to help you understand how to attack AI. You can join for the pre-show banter at 11:30. The register link is right there. I'm going to grab this full link and drop it in chat for all of you. But a huge thank you to Antisyphon Training for making the Geez, I cannot talk. It's too early in the morning. The daily cyber threat briefing possible. And I have one more sponsor of my own, guys. Simply Cyber Academy. If you are not a student on the Academy, you are missing out. We have courses covering both GRC and Red Team. The Red Team courses are taught by yours truly, but do want to let you know there is a special sale going on right now on Simply Cyber Academy. Very limited time this week only. If you use the code Fireworks20, and I'll go ahead and drop it in chat, Fireworks20 on checkout, I'll pull it up. You can get the courses all 20% off. So if I click into all products here, you can see we have all kinds of courses. Scrolling through here, if you want to learn red teaming, these courses are both taught by me, Introduction to Hacking Methodology and Introduction to AWS Pen Testing. You also have Jerry's GRC Analyst Masterclass, an amazing course, a bunch of free resources, some paid resources. But if you are not a student on Simply Cyber Academy, it's not actually an official sponsor of Simply Cyber, but it is Simply Cyber. And once again, that sale is going to expire in just a few days. So Fireworks20 and checkout to get 20% off your course. All right. I think that covers all of the sponsors that we have. Let me get things pulled up so we are ready to kick off and shred the top cyber news. Let me go ahead and refresh this tab because I'm pretty sure it's not going to play when I want it to. And then we will dive in. It's been a while since I've done it. I remember last time I felt like doing it for a week straight. The CISO series repeated at least a handful of stories, and I kept getting that weird deja vu. Like, I'm pretty sure I just talked about this like yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm gonna assume all the stories are new. I'm excited to learn with you, to dive in, give you my first take. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Also, y'all, I don't do this every single day. I mean, I stream almost every day on my own channel, but I don't do the daily cyber threat brief and control all of it with the restream. So as I kick this off, if I always forget to hide the stupid message there, I hit Fireworks20. As I kick this off, if anything sounds off or looks off, please just let me know in chat. I'll keep my eye on both chat here and in mod chat, and I will fix the audio in real time. Hey, Roswell UK, my course comes out on July 8th. I can talk more about that in jaw jacking. And so also just say, guys, I am hanging around for jaw jacking at the end. So if you do have questions about pen testing, cybersecurity, careers, all of that fun stuff, just know that I'll be here for jaw jacking. We'll do Q&A. We'll love to hang out with you for that. All right, let's see if I can get the audio set up. Let's see if everything works well. I'll share my screen. Kick off the show.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. I'm Rich Straffolino. Student data lost in Columbia University hack. Bloomberg sources say a cyber attack against the prominent university in June was able to exfiltrate student application data from at least as far back as 2019. A source reviewing a subset of the data found over 2.5 million applications that included names, student ID numbers, citizenship information, and application decisions. The alleged threat actor contacted Bloomberg, claiming they obtained roughly 460 gigabytes of data, including financial aid packages and 1.8 million social security numbers. They claimed the attack was politically motivated, seeking to find evidence that Columbia maintained admission practices barred by the Supreme Court in 2023.
All right. Nothing super interesting here. Also, I'm not seeing anyone saying, hey, Tyler, audio sucks. So I'm assuming all of it's good. But we have a university getting hacked. Now, I actually used to work at a university, nothing like the size of Columbia University. It was a small tech school, but I managed the IT stuff for the tech school. We had multiple buildings. I think we had like 300 or 400 staff and about 2,000 students. So pretty small university compared to something like Columbia University. But what I know about universities is they are nonprofit. And I mean that in the full extent of the word. They don't have a lot of money, at least most of the time. They might have big endowments, but they're limited in how they can spend that money. So I know when I worked in the university in higher ed, my salary wasn't great. We did not have a great budget for spending on cybersecurity. The big nice thing about working in university space is you get a lot of time off since you get all the major holidays off. So I missed that a little bit. But outside of that, universities just do not have the money to be able to spend on cybersecurity for the most part, or maybe they have the money, but they're not focusing on that. And so it seems to be that attacks on higher education are becoming a lot more prominent, uh, going after things like Columbia University. There's a few things interesting about this. One, it doesn't seem to be financially motivated. They said that down here. They think it's more of a hacktivist right there. Initial indications that the perpetrator is a hacktivist, meaning the person's trying to make a statement rather than seek financial gain. Now, if you're new to the field of cybersecurity or threat actors, hacktivist is a term you might see occasionally. I feel like there's not as many hacktivists as there used to be. I'm thinking back in like the 2012, 2013, back when Anonymous and those organizations were a lot bigger. Most threat actor groups now are motivated by financial gain. That's where you see ransomware deployments and things along those lines. But a hacktivist is like a protester, hacker type person. And it says they're trying to make a statement rather than seek financial gain. So they hacked into the university and stole some information about applications, and it's a lot. The 1.6 gigabyte volume of data provided to Bloomberg represents 2.5 million applicants dating back decades. Now, we don't know what the hacking was, but when it comes to the actual hacking, there's some interesting things here. One is, come on, Columbia. We notice this all the time. It says a Columbia official said initial indications showed that the data was stolen. Well, freaking no crap. Such lawyer language. Initial indications showed the data was stolen. Well, yeah, when the threat actor has your data and shares it, yes, initial indications would show that data was stolen, though the school hasn't yet determined the scope of the theft. You know what that means? That means they did not have good logging set up. Guys, you have to be able to log your environment. When a threat actor walks in and just steals your data, you should be able to know and be like, okay, they gain access this way. Here's what they compromised first. Here is the data they stole out from our environment. The fact that they still can't determine the scope of the theft tells me their logging was either non-existent or not efficient or not enough. You have to make sure you are logging everything. But you have to be able to log everything in such a way that you can actually read through the logs. You need to have a SIM so you can look at it and say, hey, here are my assets. Here is what was compromised. Here is what this means for us. Here is the incident response that we need to do. If you don't have that in place, you are asking to have a bad day. It says doing so, in other words, figuring out the scope of the threat, could take weeks to months. No one knows. It is your chance to figure it out. The official said, adding that the university will then determine who needs to be notified. Oh my goodness, they haven't even notified people. They're like, hey guys, in like 10 years from now, when we have an idea of the scope, then we'll let people know. Come on. You should let people know right away. Even if it's like, hey, you may be in this breach, you should probably check your personal records. Because what did it all include? It included students and applicants' university-issued identification numbers, citizenship status, decisions on their applications, the academic programs in which they applied, among other things. Bloomberg confirmed the accuracy of the data for 8 Columbia students and alumni who applied to Columbia between 2019 and 2024. So what I can see, it doesn't include like social security numbers, maybe, although often on applications, they ask for that information. So I don't really know, and I'm guessing because they're like, we don't know the scope. They don't even know what was all stolen. There's a good chance that more than this was stolen. So I guess I'll say, hey, if you've ever applied to Columbia University or attended Columbia University, you might want to keep an eye on your identity. Make sure you're monitoring for increased phishing attacks. One little known thing that a lot of people don't realize is when data is breached like this, even if the initial data can't be used to compromise more people on its own, it will often be used for targeted phishing attacks or targeted pretext calling the people who are affected to try to get even more information out of them. So even if the initial threat actor says he or she is not motivated by money, but more as a hacktivist, the data is out there. And as other threat actors get their hands on it, those threat actors are likely going to be motivated by money. So you're going to see more targeted phishing attacks as a result of this breach. All right, let's continue.
German hunger relief charity hit by ransomware. In a search to the answer of the age-old question, how low can you go, the Resida ransomware group has targeted Welthungerhilfe, one of Germany's largest hunger relief charities. They're demanding over $2 million, stealing food literally from the mouths of the hungry. WHH has refused to pay, shut down impacted systems, and brought in cybersecurity experts to help with recovery. Aid operations continue uninterrupted, and there's no current evidence donor data was compromised. The same group has previously attacked hospitals and disability nonprofits, continuing a deliberate pattern of exploiting those who serve the most vulnerable.
What in the world? Like, why would you do that? I'm just thinking through this. In what world, even as a threat actor, with very little morals, in what world does it make sense to do a ransomware attack on a charity that develops food supplies for the world's most impoverished countries? This is insane. I mean, this is where it's like people picture hackers as this like noble thing. We think about the Hackers movie back in the day, right? Hack the planet. Like that's more the hacktivism stuff, but this is your typical threat actor going after whatever low-hanging bug they're able to find to get as much money as they are able to get. Attacking a German charity that feeds starving children. Absolutely insane. And I think they said they wanted 2.1 million. It says the cyber criminals are attempting to sell data stolen from the charity for 20 Bitcoin, equivalent to around 2.1 million, although it's not clear whether their computer networks have also been encrypted. The charity said it would not be making extortion payment, probably because they don't have the money. They're a charity. They don't just have $2.1 million laying around to send to a threat actor. Their money is being used in order to, like, quite literally feed people and develop sustainable food sources. So they're like, we're not paying you probably because we don't have the money to pay, but also so they don't reward the criminals for making this attack. So they're looking for $2.1 million. It also says it's not clear whether their computer networks have been encrypted. Says the affected systems were shut down immediately and external IT experts who specialize in such cases were called in. We have also further strengthened the security of our systems with additional technical protective measures. There's one big takeaway on this is when you have charities and nonprofits like this, they also generally cannot afford advanced cybersecurity or even basic things that help prevent a cybersecurity attack from happening. I mean, they're focused on their mission. They're focused on feeding the hungry. That's what their programs are for. And their computers, their technology are merely the means to support their mission. It's not the mission in and of itself, so it's not going to get a lot of funding. So for those of you thinking, hey, I want to break into cybersecurity. I want to break in, but I don't have experience. One amazing way to get experience is see if you can volunteer for a nonprofit or a charity in your area. Find one that you support. Find one that you believe in, and often there's a volunteer program. But instead of doing the typical volunteer work, explain to them like, hey, I have a passion for cybersecurity. Here's some of the projects I've worked on. I'm trying to land a role in the field, but I would love to volunteer my time for you to build up that experience. I'll do it for free. I just ask for a word in return, maybe a recommendation letter for my next job, and to be able to include this on my resume. You'd be surprised how many nonprofits and charities would be super happy to have you come in and help with IT and cybersecurity processes. It helps them and it gives you experience along the way. So that's one big takeaway to keep in mind. Looking at this, we've informed relevant data protection authorities. I think they said they don't know like the extent of it, which could be that they don't have great logging, but I'm just saying this again. They're a charity focused on feeding the hungry. They're not really focused on managing vulnerabilities, unfortunately, although, of course, it's something they should focus on. I'm guessing they maybe thought, hey, we literally feed the hungry. We don't have a bunch of money. Why would they attack me? And I'm guessing, once again, when it comes to ransomware gangs, guys, most of them, at least many of them in the ransomware gang, they're not highly sophisticated. They are script kiddies. They're doing scans. They're looking for low-hanging bugs. When they find a low-hanging bug, they exploit it. Or when they buy VPN access off the deep web, they use that to gain in, or credentials off the deep web, they use that to gain initial access. And then they're just causing as much damage as they are able to cause to get as much money as they are able to make. So I don't think that this German charity was targeted specifically, but I'm guessing one of these ransomware groups saw that they could gain access to it and thought, screw it. Let's go ahead and try to get money from this charity that develops sustainable food supplies. But come on, threat actors. I know you don't have much morals, but at least have a little bit of morals when it comes to what organization you're planning on targeting. All right, let's continue. Some more stories. I'm just going to refresh the podcast because it's probably not going to play. We'll get it ready to go. All right, here we go.
Quantis contact center breached. The Australian airline disclosed it first detected unusual network activity on June 30th. An initial investigation found that the threat actors gained access through a third-party customer service platform, obtaining customer names, email addresses, and frequent flyer numbers. Quantis didn't specify the number of impacted customers, but local media report that the figure could be as high as 6 million people. The airline has said the attack did not impact operations and that no financial or passport information was accessed.
Okay, so we do have an airline, significant contact center data breach. I was actually going to mention this myself. You've probably heard a little bit about Scattered Spider. They're really getting in the mainstream news because my wife asked me, who doesn't follow cyber stuff, she asked me, was that last night or 2 nights ago? She's like, do you know what a Scattered Spider is? And I was like, the threat actor group? And she's like, yeah. And apparently in the local news station, they mentioned that Scattered Spider is going after airlines and all that fun stuff. So they're getting a little more mainstream, but we have a breach here, and actually quite a bit to break down. We have significant contact center data breach, and I love how it may have. Quantis today revealed that a contact center breach may have led. We don't know. All right, we gotta hide behind our lawyer speech. We don't know. It may have led to the compromise of a significant volume of personal information belonging to customers. The Australian airline said it first detected unusual activity on Monday. What you know what that means? It means the threat actors were likely there for days, weeks, if not months. They just finally detected it. So it's not that the threat actors gained access on Monday, but that they were detected on Monday. They finally got caught. And I can tell you, in my day-to-day job, I don't think I shared this in the beginning, but my day job is I'm a pen tester, and I also do red team engagements. Now, pen testing and red teaming aren't the same thing. When you do a red team engagement, that's when you're focused on stealth and emulating generally an APT or an advanced persistent threat, but it's based on being quiet. And I can tell you that I've done red team engagements where I could have stayed in the environment for a very long time, and the client never would have detected me because they had insufficient logging and they did not know what I was doing. So I'm guessing the threat actor was likely in the environment for quite a bit longer than what it seems. They just happened to be detected on Monday. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you are ever affected by a data breach and you're notified and said, we notice activity on Monday, you're not safe. They likely had your data for the past few weeks, if not the past few months, and you want to be on high alert as a result. It says the incident occurred when a cybercriminal targeted a call center and gained access to a third-party customer service platform. So now we have the importance of vendor security. When you have vendors that you are working with, third-party vendors, you can't control their systems, at least not that easily. It's often recommended to have an entire team or an entire process for vendor onboarding. Before a vendor has access to your information, you want to make sure you are checking their own security processes. Are they compliant? Have they done pen tests in the past? How are they handling data security? Do they have MFA enabled and everything? How are they verifying people's identity? These are questions you need to ask to manage vendors and to manage third-party risk, because third-party risk, when something is breached, then becomes first-party risk when your own customer data is being managed by that third party. Says we're continuing to investigate, though we expect it will be significant of the data. An initial review has confirmed the data includes some customers' names, emails, phone numbers, dates of birth, and frequent flying numbers, but they're still investigating. I have a feeling we're going to hear more about this story, and it's going to be a lot more than just this data. If it's significant and they were able to compromise this data, it's going to be more than just the things that we are seeing right here. Says the figure could be as high as 6 million people affected. Now, Scattered Spider, you may have heard about them. They usually use phishing attacks and social engineering to get initial access. That's like calling and saying, hey, I am Justin Gold from Simply Cyber, Barricade Cyber, or whatever organization you want to name, and I forgot my password. Can you please reset the password for me? And then you trick them and you're able to get access. If you want to learn how real phishing attacks happen and how pretext calling happens with spoofing phone numbers, I have a course coming out on July 8th on Simply Cyber Academy called Hands-on Phishing. If you go through my course, you will get very familiar with Scattered Spider's MO, and you'll know how to do the same attacks they do. That's important as a defender because the best way to defend is to think like an attacker. And if you're a pen tester, it's important because then you can provide more value to clients because you can actually emulate real things that you see happening. But I don't think they confirmed that it was Scattered Spider, but it's just very similar TTP or things that they are doing as far as getting access to the environment. But let's continue. We have one more story before the mid-roll. Let's dive in.
WordPress plugin Flaw opens the door to site takeover. The Forminator Forms plugin is active on over 600,000 WordPress sites, offering a drag-and-drop visual builder for form-based content. But security researcher Fat Rio Blue Rock, that's the name folks, discovered a flaw in how the plugin handles input validation, which didn't check if those fields are supposed to handle files. This could be exploited to insert an uploaded file with a custom path that points to a system file, something like wp-config.php. Forminator is often configured to auto-delete old submissions, which could then delete that core file, defaulting back to a setup stage where an attacker could start a takeover attempt. After contacting the developers, a patch was released on June 30th, but since its release, only about a third of installs have downloaded it.
You got to patch it. So a few things, a few takeaways from this story. One, WordPress is massive. Let me get chat pulled back up. What up, Eric Taylor? Good to see you in chat. But WordPress has massive infrastructure all over the world. I mean, when I'm doing pen testing, I would say 70 to 80% of the time, the client has some type of WordPress instance. And when it comes to attacking WordPress, there's specific tools that you can use when you're doing it from a pen test perspective. I'm not going to tell you those. If you want to hear those, go to my YouTube channel. You can learn all about attacking WordPress and a bunch of other websites from a red team's perspective. But just know that if you have a WordPress website, the attack surface can be massive because what WordPress allows you to do is use plugins. These plugins are, well, what they sound like. You download, you install them. They're not managed by WordPress themselves, but they're managed by these other organizations who provide these plugins to expand WordPress features and the access you get in WordPress. Now, when it comes to plugins, managing plugin vulnerabilities is a job in and of itself. If you just go to Google and you type in WordPress plugin vulnerability, you're going to quite literally get thousands of results of different plugins, things that they're vulnerable to, even active vulnerabilities in these WordPress plugins. So as someone, if you use WordPress, which I actually use it myself, if you use WordPress, you need to stay on top of this. You need to make sure you are patching things or you have auto updates turned on for those plugins, because if not, you are going to get pwned. And this is a very interesting vulnerability. Almost seems like a CTF. Now, I always want to be careful to define my terms. When I say CTF, I don't quite literally mean like the game where I run and capture a flag from you in Halo. But CTFs is when you have a vulnerable machine on purpose, unlike Try Hack Me, which got my Try Hack Me swag on, or Hack the Box or Pwn Labs, and you learn how to do ethical hacking in a safe environment, and the goal is to capture a flag on the system. But in a lot of CTFs that you do, you'll be exploiting WordPress, and this honestly sounds like a Try Hack Me room at this point. Forminator Forms, which I have heard of, they're a massive plugin. A lot of people use it. but it is a file upload vulnerability. It says insufficient validation and sanitization of form field input and unsafe file deletion logic. My understanding is when a user submits a form, it then saves file paths without checking if those are supposed to handle files. So in, let's say, the username area where you're filling out a form and you have a spot for name, you can upload a file into name. It seems to be what it's saying, or you can upload a full file path and then you can delete a file. It says an attacker could exploit this to insert a crafted file array into any field, including text fields, so such as username, mimicking an uploaded file with a custom path that points to a critical file. So this is actually on the WordPress web server, var www html wp-config.php. If you know WordPress, this is what contains all of the config for your WordPress site. It says when the admin deletes this, the plugin auto deletes the old submissions, including this file. Well, if wp-config.php is deleted and then you load the WordPress site, it goes back to the typical setting up WordPress, and you can create a new admin user and essentially take over the entire website from a blank state. And now you own the WordPress website. A very interesting attack path. I'm trying to think honestly how to make a vulnerable machine that exploits this to get hands-on with it. The difficulty is you'd have to have a script on the back end that deletes the files or does whatever the admin's supposed to do, because it says when the admin deletes this or when the plugin auto deletes old submissions as configured. So you just have to speed up that process so that it can actually be done. But that would be interesting. So I'll just give a takeaway, guys. If you want to demonstrate something on your resume, when you read a story like this, set it up in your own lab environment. Create your own vulnerable machine. It's really easy to spin up a self-hosted version of WordPress. Don't put it on the internet, probably, but host it locally and exploit this so you understand how it works. And then, hey, if you want even bonus points, Scudo points, start a YouTube channel and give a walkthrough saying, hey, in this video, I want to show you how to exploit a recent WordPress CVE, and I want to also tell you how to patch and remediate this. And in your video, you can walk people through how to exploit it, why it happens, what it looks like to set up initial WordPress after WP config is deleted. But you can also talk about here's how you can patch it. And the way you patch it is, hey, just install the patches. It looks like the researcher received a bug bounty of $8,100. I honestly think it should be more, but it's probably not being actively exploited right now, but it likely will be in the future. It says that they released a patch for it, but a lot of things have not patched, or it's unclear how many are vulnerable. So here's the big thing. If you use Forminator for your website, update it. But here's the thing. You may not even know if you use Forminator on your website. Oh, thank you, Eric. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up. The EPS score to see if it's actively, the chances of it being exploited. I'm going to grab that link. Let's paste it in. Okay, so it's a low chance of it actually being exploited right now. You can see our EPSS of 0.14%, but thank you, Eric, for dropping this in. So not actively being exploited, but it can be with the wp-config.php being deleted. I think what probably makes this hard is as a threat actor, you don't know when that file is going to be deleted. You're kind of waiting on the admin to do something. So it reminds me sort of like stored cross-site scripting, where if I can do stored cross-site scripting, I can put in like a JavaScript payload that causes you to do something when you go to the page, but you have to wait for the admin to go to the page and trigger it. So you just don't know how long this is going to take. So this isn't like something that a threat actor can use this exploit and then immediately gain access to your WordPress instance. There's this weird waiting period that they don't even know how long it is. So that lowers the likelihood, I think, of it being exploited. But when it's exploited, the impact's going to be pretty high because they can go ahead and ruin your WordPress site and take it over. Oh, what I was going to say here, though, is if you use WordPress at all, you're just going to want to update. Even if you don't think you use Forminator, there's a good chance you do. So make sure you log into your WordPress instance and you can see plugins. Every time a plugin has an update, it should notify you. Make sure you patch that stuff. Yo, Priceless Pancake, thank you. Thank you for becoming a sponsor. You're amazing. All right, let's go ahead and jump over, ladies and gentlemen, to the mid-roll. You're just gonna have to picture the sounds. I'll let you picture it in your head. All right, you have the mid-roll song going in your mind. I can't play it myself, but you can picture it in your mind. Let me jump over to the mid-roll. Thank you to our sponsors. Now, a few sponsors I want to point out real quick. Number one is Barricade Cyber Solutions with the one and only CEO, founder, chief forensic officer, awesome dude, Eric Taylor. He is the founder of Barricade Cyber Solutions, and he is doing a webcast. I talked about this in the beginning of the stream. I dropped the link for you, but it's happening in approximately, I think, 3.5 hours now, 12 o'clock my time. But he is doing the state of ransomware for the month of June. So, hey, Maz, I don't know if any of you guys are over in chat. I don't have the link anymore. I had it pulled up and dropped it in the beginning. But if you guys have the link, please drop it over in chat so that everybody can see that link for that webcast happening on the Barricade Cyber YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out. Another one is ThreatLocker. A huge thank you to ThreatLocker for really being a huge supporter of the Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief. Make sure you check out ThreatLocker so you can stay on top of threats and vulnerabilities. If you want to know more about them, I played a video in the beginning where you can see the full kind of ad read for ThreatLocker. And then Antisyphon training. They have a webcast coming up with the one and only Jason Haddix on June 9th, if my memory, or July 9th, if my memory serves me correct. But once again, links are in the description for that. If you don't know who Jason Haddix is, he's an amazing human being and also an incredible teacher and instructor. The webcast is all about how to do pen testing or attacking AI and LLM's large language models. So make sure you check that out. Let me go ahead and exit out of these things. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time for What's Your Meme Thursday. And before I do this, though, I saw that Haircutfish just dropped the link. Let me grab this link real quick for the Barricade Cyber Solutions State of Ransomware for the month of June. I just dropped it in chat. I'll go ahead and highlight it. Make sure right now, before you get to see the meme, you have to go to this URL. I promise I'm not phishing you, which is what a threat actor would say. But go to this URL and make sure you click the notify me so that you are notified when Eric goes live over on the Barricade Cyber Solutions channel. Go ahead and hide that. But here it is. We have What's Your Meme Thursday with Dan Reardon, a.k.a. the Haircutfish. Dude, okay, so right before this show, after I saw the memes and you sent them over to me, I went upstairs. My son was awake. Told him good morning. I'm walking downstairs. I'm like, where does he get that name? Haircutfish. So I don't know if you can tell us in chat, but I was very curious. It's a name that's catchy, but if you picture it, I was trying to picture in my head a fish getting a haircut, and it broke my brain for a little bit. So I would love to know how you chose the name, the Haircut Fish. But here we go. Let's see. Well, I can't exit out. We have two memes for you guys for the 4th of July. Here's the first one. Classic Napoleon Dynamite. We got no one, but here's Jerry. Here's Jerry at the 4th of July cookout. Do you think anybody wants a round kick to the face while I'm wearing these bad boys? Now, there's kind of a CTF in this picture. If you look closely, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to find Waldo, but you do have to find the Haircutfish. He's going to drop these memes over in the meme channel on the Simply Cyber Discord. You can check it there. But if you look closely, if you look very closely, you can find the Haircutfish hidden in the picture. Make sure you check that out. We have another one for the 4th of July. Oh, man, let's just zoom in on that. I can't. I want to just zoom in on his face. That's amazing. I love it. We have Jerry. Scary Jerry. We got Scary Jerry chilling in this picture. Now, Haircutfish, I think he also said he's hidden somewhere here. I only glanced at it real quickly, but I didn't see him. So you guys are going to have to look for him, and maybe I'm wrong. But I could have swore Haircutfish told me he's hidden somewhere here, or maybe when he sent me the new image, I didn't get it. I thought I updated it, but you have to make sure you check out the meme channel for these memes. But this one's amazing. This is Jerry. This is him when he realizes I'm the one doing his show today. Okay, so Haircutfish just said in mod chat, I am technically in there, but not visible. I don't know what that means. He is technically in there, but not visible. You guys will have to dig in and see if you can find the almighty Haircutfish in the picture, but I love it. The memes are on point. Kudos to Haircutfish for another thing of memes. You guys are saying the glimmer of Jerry's eye? Is that where he is? I don't know. I don't know where the Haircutfish is, but he's hidden somewhere in that shirt, guys. I just don't know where. I'm gonna have to take the time to look through here to see if I can figure out this. It's I wonder, is it steganography? Did he hide like in the metadata of the image himself, and we have to use steg hide to unpack the image and find him in the metadata? That's my guess. I don't know if I'm right. You guys will have to do that on your own. Use some steg hide, see if you can figure out where the Haircutfish is hidden on this image, but love it, love it, love it. Let's continue on with the show. We're at 7:41. I got 20 more minutes to knock out 4 stories. Let's go. Let's refresh the podcast. Then let's go. All right, here we go.
And now, a huge thanks to our sponsor, Palo Alto Networks. You're moving fast in the cloud, and so are attackers. But while SecOps and cloud security teams are working in silos, attackers are exploiting the gaps between them. Cortex Cloud by Palo Alto Networks bridges this divide, unifying teams and stopping attacks with real-time cloud security that includes AI-powered protection, detection, and automated response capabilities. Threats are stopped in minutes instead of days, and teams can finally protect cloud environments at the speed and scale of modern attacks. To learn more about how Cortex Cloud stops cloud attacks before they become breaches, visit paloaltonetworks.com/CDR. Arrests reign in Spain over data leak pain. Spanish police arrested 2 individuals in Las Palmas for alleged cybercriminal activity that obtained data on high-ranking state officials.
All right, I have to repeat that title. What did they say? Arrests reign in Spain for something about pain. Hold up. The rhyming there got to me. I need to back that up. What was that title?
Arrests reign in Spain over data leak pain.
We're dropping some bars, yo. Arrests reign in Spain over data leak pain. Just freaking Eminem needs to be on notice. We got the CISO series coming after him. Arrests reign in Spain over data breach pain. Oh man.
Spanish police arrested 2 individuals in Las Palmas for alleged cybercriminal activity that obtained data on high-ranking state officials and journalists. Police described it as a serious threat to national security, with the 2 leaking samples of the data online as they attempted to sell it. One suspect is reported to be specialized around data exfiltration, while the other managed the sale of the data and obscured cryptocurrency transactions. Police raids also obtained electronic devices, and authorities hope this will lead to more co-conspirators or buyers of the data being arrested.
I mean, there's nothing super interesting here besides, hey, if you break the law, you're going to get caught. All right, that's a good takeaway. I think I talked about this a little bit last week when I was doing the show, but when it comes to threat actors, I don't think they all start out thinking to themselves, you know what I want to be when I grow up? I want to be a cyber criminal that steals information and does some crazy hacking to get there. I think for the most part, many of the people who fall into the trap of cyber criminal activity start out as teenagers and they just have an interest in cyber. I mean, you can listen to Darknet Diaries to hear more of this story, but I think all of us who are in cyber had that experience. I remember when I was like, 13, 14 years old is when I first started getting into ethical. Well, it wasn't ethical, but I started learning about hacking. And back then, there was not Try Hack Me, there was not Hack the Box, but there was hackthisSite.org. It was like an underground training ground. It's actually still a website out now. And I remember doing hackthisSite.org, learning how to do some hacking stuff, and then going to my school and using school as my Try Hack Me. And I eventually got in trouble multiple times. My final thing is the school took away computer access, so I couldn't use computers anymore. And they said, if you touch a computer, we will threaten you with criminal charges. So that was like my entry into the world of cyber. Thankfully, I did not choose cyber criminal as my career path. But I think a lot of people, they think it's cool. They're teenagers, they're trying to figure this out, and they fall into the dark path. And they see there's a lot of money to be made, but then they get caught. And God, stupid cat, guys. If you guys remember him from last week, he's back, wants to be part of the freaking live show. And if I don't pet him, he's loud. But what I will say, y'all, in my community, in the Hack Smarter community, we actually have quite a few teenagers who are just learning hacking. But we're very clear there, like, yes, this is an amazing skill to have, but you need to use it for good. I don't know if any teenagers are going to be watching this who want to get into cyber, but let me just warn you, do not pursue it in the wrong way. You can make an entire career out of being an ethical hacker, and then you don't have to worry about the FBI or the police department in your country knocking on your door, taking your computer equipment, and sending you to prison. But you do have these cyber criminals. They arrested 2 individuals in Spain, bringing that, the hacking data pain or whatever the heck they called it in the title. But we have sensitive data related to politicians, members of the central and regional governments, and media professionals. And it sounds like they're trying to sell the data. Outside of that, this is your normal story. If you hack stuff, you're going to get arrested. You're going to get caught. You're going to get charged. Make a career out of it. Don't make a prison sentence out of your skills. Let's keep going.
Android SMS stealer hits Uzbekistan. Researchers at Group IB identified a novel SMS stealer dubbed Quiz Serial that infected almost 100,000 devices in the country. Quiz Serial spreads through Telegram channels, with threat actors posing as government agents trying to spread malicious apps like presidential support or financial assistance. Once installed, Quiz Serial harvests phone numbers, bank card numbers, SMS-based authentication, and SIM card information. Initially, researchers saw this data exfiltrated through Telegram bots, but newer variants use a gate server with HTTP post requests. The researchers note that Uzbekistan's payment system overwhelmingly depends on SMS for its primary authentication factor.
Okay. So somewhat of a unique story. A few takeaways here. Don't download crap off Telegram. Let's just start there. If someone reaches out to you Telegram and says, hey, you need to download this app or you need to go through this, like, just say no. Think back to elementary school about drugs. Just say no. When it comes to random applications to download or someone offering you money, just say no. Trust me, it's not going to work out well for you. We have an SMS stealer. So it steals SMS text messages, but even more out of the phone. It affects nearly 100,000 devices. Quiz Serial, I don't know how to say that word. Quiz Serial was identified by Group IB. So here it is. It's being spread via Telegram, but more than Telegram. If you're on Discord and someone's like, hey, I have this sweet binary, you should download it, just say no. It's not going to go well for you. But it says that cyber criminals pose as government agencies. Let me scroll through or zoom in. It dropped it down here. They pose as government agencies offering financial aid. So they're going off people's need, which is a big part of social engineering. When it comes to social engineering, people are going to attack you where you're weak. So when you think about a computer system or a server, you can use Nessus to scan that server for vulnerabilities. Gosh, too early to talk. And then you can use those vulnerabilities to gain access to the server. Well, human beings are the same way. Each one of us has a variety of vulnerabilities that can be exploited if a threat actor gets their hands on it. In this case, the vulnerability was likely financial need, and the threat actors are exploiting that human vulnerability in order to steal money from the victim, which really makes it even worse because it's likely these victims are struggling financially and they're trying to get money, they're trying to get financial aid, but in the moment they think they're going to get financial aid, their own money, the little bit of money they still have, goes missing. It says fraudsters disguise malicious app. So you have to download the app. I'm guessing you have to sideload the app. I don't know for sure, but I would guess that these aren't apps in the Google Play Store. You could technically download malicious apps from there, but not as likely. Android allows you to side load apps that aren't from the official Google Play Store, and I'm guessing that's how this gets on the phone based on what I can see, because it says they disguise malicious apps using titles such as presidential support or financial assistance, tricking users into sideloading malware-laden APKs. APKs is just the app bundle file for an Android app. So you can download and sideload those APKs. Once it gets on your phone, if we scroll through, it says once installed, the app requests access to phone state and SMS permissions, then harvest sensitive data, such as phone numbers and bank card number, SMS inbox, details of installed banking page, SIM card info. And we can see up here that Quiz Serial targets SMS-based auth because it's a widely used method in Uzbek payment systems. So if you can steal text messages, you can then gain access to the victim's bank account, and that's why they are doing that. So a little bit interesting with the SMS phishing, but here's a big thing. Don't download apps. Don't sideload apps onto your Android phone. Only install things onto your phone if you know the true origin of the app and it is trustworthy. Let's keep going. Let's refresh the podcast.
French government impacted by Avanti hacks. The Avanti cloud service appliance vulnerabilities. The Flaw.
Did you guys catch that? He said, I've never heard them say that in the CISO series. Like he was waiting for the next word. I just caught that quick.
It just keeps on giving. France's cybersecurity agency, ANSSI, issued a report finding that a campaign used these vulnerabilities to target organizations from governmental, telecommunications, media, finance, and transport sectors. ANSSI said the attacks were linked to the threat actor Hoken, described by Mandiant as UNC 5174, believed to be a contractor for China's Ministry of State Security. The agency acknowledged the attacks were designed to exfiltrate data that the group could sell to state intelligence agencies. Begun the cloned crypto.
No, okay, that's the next one, I think. Cat, my freaking cat, guys. I don't know if you can hear meowing. He's so annoying. If I don't pet him, he just screws around everywhere down here and gets into stuff. He knows it makes me angry. Do yourself a favor and don't get a cat. I know they're cute. I know you see cat pictures are not worth it. Anyways, we have French cybersecurity agency confirms government affected by Avanti hacks, which is something you may have heard about in the news before. But what exactly did they steal? So it targets organizations. I mean, it's an APT. So I mentioned APT before. I don't want to assume everybody knows the meaning of that. APT is an advanced persistent threat, and they're generally powered by a nation state. So they're nation state actors. And the name APT really does give you a good overview of what it is. Advanced persistent threat. They're advanced in their attack method. They're not script kiddies. They know what they're doing. They likely work for a nation state. I mean, the U.S. has their own APT. It's called the NSA, but they're advanced and they're persistent. When they gain access to your environment, you can try to kick them out, but they likely have established a clause in multiple places. You remove them from one environment, they've set up persistence in another environment, and they'll just pivot and perform lateral movement. And finally, they are a threat. They're a massive threat, not always like a ransomware threat, but rather espionage. Stealing sensitive data that they can use for their own government, or stealing sensitive data to hold over your government. And it says, I think they said a contractor for a Chinese ministry. Yeah, here it is. It's noted that similar behavior had previously been observed around several Chinese leaked intrusion sets related to the APT-41 cluster, which has been connected to a prolific number of campaigns, some for profit and some allegedly sponsored by China's Ministry of State Security. Now you can read that and think, wow, China's the bad guy. But once again, there is an invisible war going on all of the time that you and I do not see. Sometimes we see the effects of it, but we don't see how deep this really goes. Every nation has cyber capability, and they're using that cyber capability to target other nations. They're looking for data that can be used for national security. They're looking for data that can be used for espionage. So, yes, China has APT groups that are doing the same thing, targeting government data. But guess what? So does the United States. The US has their own APT groups, government sponsored threat actors that are targeting other countries for espionage and national security. So it's not that China is the bad guy here. It's part of being a government. Now, I do find it funny that it says the U.S. government filed dozens of criminal charges against hackers employed by the Chinese government and indictments that detail an entire data brokerage ecosystem in the country, where commercial cyber intrusion groups sell access to networks and pilfer material to China's intelligence services. I mean, the hackers are likely located in China. The U.S. can charge them with as many criminal charges as they want, but if they're being employed by the Chinese government and they live in China, there's not going to be much. The thing that probably sets us apart is they're selling access. Was it only to the China's intelligence services? They have an entire data brokerage ecosystem. I mean, it's like bug bounty for threat actors. We have access brokers. So here's what's happening. They break into the systems, into the computers, into the networks. Then they sell access. You see this even on the deep web, where you can buy VPN access or buy credentials to different organizations. That's what an access broker does. They do the initial compromise. They sell that compromise to like a ransomware group. The ransomware group uses those initial set of credentials to deploy ransomware and collect money. So this is the access brokers, and that is how they work, and that is how they make their money. So interesting report. Nothing super out of the ordinary, but more nation-state actors doing nation-state actor stuff. Threat actors are going to threat act. All right, one more story.
Crypto wallet wars have. Hackers uploaded over 40 cloned crypto wallet extensions to the Firefox add-on store, mimicking trusted tools like MetaMask and Coinbase. The extensions appear legitimate, but contained hidden code that captured users' recovery phrases, allowing attackers to drain funds. One victim reported losing over $4,000. The listings used faked 5-star reviews to boost credibility. Mozilla has since implemented a system to flag and manually review suspicious crypto add-ons, but many of the malicious clones remained live for weeks.
Wow. Well, hey, don't download crypto extensions. Like, crypto is notoriously easy to steal because it's hard to follow the paper trail because there's not much of a paper trail. I mean, with Bitcoin, you can kind of track down from wallet to wallet to figure out who the recipient is. But if you have crypto, I highly recommend don't download extensions for managing your crypto, or be very, very, very careful the source that you download those from. This is a pretty sophisticated attack, I think, because it's being served in the Firefox's official add-on stores. Now, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, each one of them have add-ons that you can install to make life a little bit easier. But what's unique about these is you have these wallets, but they have fake reviews. You can see this one has 360 5-star reviews. This one has 18 5-star reviews. So it looks legit. If you're just looking at this right now, you're like, hey, this looks like a solid add-on. I'm going to add it to Firefox. But when you add it, they are stealing your stuff. It's a Russia-speaking threat group stealing your crypto. Monitor for sensitive. Okay, so it's almost like a keylogger. Monitors for sensitive data input from the victim, and then it grabs that data and sends it out. The code checks for input strings that are longer than 30 characters to filter for realistic wallet key seed. That's clever. And then seed phrases are master keys. If you don't know how crypto works, it's basically like the password, very long password, in order to gain access to a wallet. We have some more examples here. We have MetaMask by MetaMask Wallet. You can see this one's been installed a bunch of times. You have a bunch of 5-star reviews, and now you have some 1-star reviews, but this looks legit as well. 3.9 total stars, 4.6 total stars. This is very realistic looking. I understand how people fell for this. Although most of the user reviews are obviously fake, they surpass the installation figure by far. So what you mean by that is you see the number of users. We have 53 users and almost 4,000 reviews. So that's one thing to always look out for. Many users not paying attention to the details could still be tricked into installing them and risk their seed phrases being stolen, which clearly a lot of people did fall for it. Now, Mozilla has developed an early detection system for crypto scam extensions, but here's the thing. Any type of threat actor and detecting threat actors is a cat and mouse game. So yes, Mozilla detected an early detection system, but guess what? I guarantee there are ways to bypass their early detection system. Every defense that's put in place, there are ways to bypass it. And that is the cat and mouse game of cybersecurity. Blue team develops defense. Threat actors bypass. They develop more defense, bypass, defense, bypass, defense, bypass. It keeps all of us employed, but it is a cat and mouse game. So don't trust the early detection system. I don't know why it reloaded it. Don't trust the early detection system because I guarantee that it's going to be able to be bypassed. But interesting story. But ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, we are at the top of the hour. I went to exactly the top of the hour. Like you can't get more perfect timing than that. But this concludes the daily cyber threat briefing. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me for the show. Hope you learned a lot in the process. Hope you're ready for the day, and sincerely hope you get a long holiday weekend. If you are in the US, I have tomorrow and Monday off from work, so I'm looking forward to that. Just a reminder, there is no daily cyber threat briefing for tomorrow. We are taking it off for the 4th of July. But at this time, we are going to move over to what's called jaw jacking. This is a Q&A time. I'm going to hang around for the next 30 minutes or so. And if you have questions about cyber, pen testing careers, feel free to ask it. But before we dive into jaw jacking, I'll explain more in just a moment about that. Let me play the jaw jacking intro. But if you're just here for the news stories, that segment of the show is done. You should hang around for jaw jacking. I think the questions will be good, and I'm looking forward to answering those questions. But thank you for being here. Let's jump over to jaw jacking.
Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for Jawjacking. If you have questions about cybersecurity, pen testing, hacking stuff, life, feel free to ask them. Let me go ahead and pull up chat. And I'm going to get this pulled over here. Let me reset up my environment real quick. The overlay wasn't showing. Okay. If you have questions, you can preface them with a Q so I can see them easier, and then I will answer them. Like I said before, I'll hang around for about 30 minutes. So any questions you have, feel free to ask them. We have the first one kicking off by Roswell, UK. So tell us about your new course. All right. I'm not logged into my Simply Cyber admin stuff here. Otherwise, I'd give you a full preview. You can go to my YouTube channel to check it out. But on July 8th, I am releasing a course on Simply Cyber Academy called Hands-On Phishing. This course is going to cover how to do full phishing engagements. I walk you through how to set up phishing infrastructure, how to purchase domains, how to configure domains, how to use GoPhish and Evil Jinx, how to spoof telephone numbers, how to come up with pretext, how to bypass modern defenses, and probably much more that I'm not thinking about. It's over 60 hands-on labs and lessons taught by me, a real pen tester, not just a silly influencer. So that course releases on July 8th. There will be early bird pricing for just the first 2 days. So July 8th and July 9th, you'll be able to get the course for lifetime access for only $24. After that, it goes up to $34, which is still incredibly cheap. I mean, any other course of this caliber, you're looking at $300 to $500. I'm selling it for $34, one-time payment for lifetime access, including all the updates that I'll be making to the course to keep it up to date. So July 8th, that course releases. I'm even sweetening the pot a little bit. I am giving away a voucher for the OSCP plus 90 days of lab access. Now, if you know OffSec, That's not cheap. That is an $1,800 value. If you enroll in my course within the first 4 weeks, you will be eligible to win that voucher. I will be doing the giveaway live on stream. So thank you, Roswell UK, for giving me the opportunity to play my own commercial. But I am really excited for that course. I really think you guys will enjoy it. It is made for both red teamers and blue teamers. On the red team, you're going to be able to do a full social engineering campaign like a professional after you work through the course. On the blue team, the best way to defend is to be able to think like an attacker or a threat actor. And I'm revealing all of the strategies, the tradecraft that goes behind phishing campaigns and social engineering, which is one of the primary way threat actors gain access to your environment. So thank you for the question, Roswell. You like just threw me a softball and I just knocked that thing out of the park. Let me scroll up. Want to make sure I'm not missing any chat questions. Do you still need the headphones? I mean, eventually, yeah. My headphones are a little bit broken, which I guess I don't need to wear them now. There's no audio playing. So technically, yeah, I need headphones, but my headphones work just fine. Let me Do they have July 4th in the UK? I love it. Ethan said, Tyler, have you ever met Zero Day? I have. Cool dude. Know him personally, ran into him at DEF CON, chat with him occasionally over on Discord. Super cool dude. So yeah, I have met him. I don't know if you want to know more than that, but he's genuinely a nice person. That's what I've noticed about so many of the big names in the industry. They're all incredibly nice, at least all the ones I've met. So like Zero Day, I know him. Nahamsek, another friend of mine, genuinely nice guy. Network Chuck, also an amazing person. I was on Network Chuck's channel. This would have been a few months ago now. I'm meeting with him again next week just to talk, not on stream, but just to touch base, just to continue to build friendship. So all of those people are amazing. Jerry, of course, also an awesome person. All these big names. John Hammond, another one that I've met a few times. They're all really nice people. Roswell says, we called the 4th of July Friday. I love it. What are the possibilities of reverse ransomwaring a threat actor with honeypot honey files, essentially reverse pwn the bad guys? I mean, it's possible, but I think unlikely because of the way they have their infrastructure set up. But it's always possible. I mean, you can see the NSA do some of like attacking threat actor groups, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's that likely unless you're at that level and working on behalf of the FBI or something to really do some crazy 0 days, but it's possible. Tyler, once you started working professionally as a pen tester, how long into your job until you started red teaming? Good question, Poner Joe. And Jenny, yeah, you can drop cues in mod chat if you want. I'm also doing my best to look here, but feel free to drop them in mod chat in case I miss them as well. But what Poner Joe is getting at, guys, is there's a difference between pen testing and red teaming. A lot of people confuse these two terms. When you do a pen test is very much a time-limited engagement. You might have 5 days to hack into a web app, and the purpose of a pen test isn't to get like crazy RCE, but to find as many vulnerabilities as possible. A pen test is a more holistic overview of an app. You don't have to be quiet. You don't have to focus on stealth. The blue team knows you're in their environment because they're paying you to find all those vulnerabilities. A red team engagement, on the other hand, is like an advanced version of pen testing. A red team engagement does not focus on finding as many vulns as you can, but rather focus on goal execution. So if you're doing a red team engagement against a bank, for example, the goal might be, hey, can you commit a fraudulent transaction? How you get to that is a lot more open. You might do social engineering. You might do web app hacking. You might do network hacking. You might do cloud hacking. You might do a combination of all of those, but you also have to focus on stealth and remaining quiet. So generally speaking, when you become a pen tester, you're likely not doing red teaming stuff right away. So that's the context of Poner Joe's question. Now, to answer your question, Poner Joe, I would say it was about a year for me. And now I help lead the red team engagements where I work. Now, to put that in a little bit of context, though, everyone grows at their own rate when it comes to in the field. I think I probably accelerated more than a lot of people just because I'm always grinding. I mean, in addition to like my day job as a pen tester, I'm always at night doing self-study, working on rooms, working on machines, working on search, streaming, teaching, a lot. So in like 1 year, I'm pretty sure I have the same level of experience in that first year as most people get in like 4 to 5 years of pen testing, just because I'm always grinding, always working, always learning. All right, let me scroll through. Question: how do you write good pen test reports? Any good templates to follow and use to practice? You can look at things like Sysreptor for templates. I will say, when you get hired at a pen testing firm, many pen testing firms have their own internal reporting software that you'll use when you write your pen test report that makes your life a little bit easier. So just keep that in mind. But as far as writing good reports, a lot of it comes down to good writing in general. Now, before I switched over to pen testing, I spent 10 years in pastoral ministry and also spent a lot of time in academia. So I have a master's of divinity, which just means I spent 3 years on the academic side studying theology, philosophy, Hebrew, Greek, history, all of that fun stuff. And then I also served as a teaching assistant. I was working on a doctorate, but as a teaching assistant, doing lectures and like reviewing papers for master level students. So I think I probably have above average communication and writing skills as a result. But having just good writing skills goes a long way when it comes to report writing, being able to communicate well via written language. The other thing is being able to like give people a walkthrough of how to exploit a vulnerability. In a good pen test report, not only are you explaining what the vulnerability is, you're giving the testing team step by step on how to exploit it. And you have to keep in mind, this testing team is not spending all their day on Try Hack Me. They may not know how to use Burp Suite, or it's brand new to them. So you really have to be able to guide people through how to exploit a vulnerability who aren't as technical as you. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And then finally, I would say practice makes perfect. The best way to get good at writing pen test reports is writing pen test reports. So even now, if you're not a pen tester, when you solve a machine on Try Hack Me or Hack the Box, try to write a full pen test report on it and share it and ask people for feedback. People will give you feedback on the report. And the more you do that, the more comfortable you will get with pen test report writing. I think I said that was my last point, but I do have one final point. When you get hired at a firm, there's also an internal QA process. So you'll submit your report and other pen testers, more senior pen testers, will rip it apart. Just know that that's going to happen. Like if you come work with me, I'm leaving my job, guys, end of September to do solo pen testing on my own, but my company is currently hiring. And if you get hired, you'll get to work with me for a couple of months. When you submit your first pen test report, I promise you that I'm going to rip it apart. It's nothing personal, but if you've never done pen test reporting at a professional level, you're going to miss so many things. And you just have to have a teachable attitude and learn from that experience. So just know, you get a job as a pen tester, your report's going to suck. Your first few reports are going to suck. Senior pen testers like me and others are going to rip it apart. Use that as a learning experience. Take good notes, and you'll get a lot better at writing those pen test reports. Hope that helps. All right, let me scroll through chat. I see, is there any updates? Oh, yeah. Is there any updates on your partnership with Nahamsec? I know you had a meeting with him a few weeks back. Yeah, so Nahamsec has a platform that he co-founded called Hacking Hub. Hacking Hub is like a web app hacking platform that is based on bug bounty reports on HackerOne. So very real world. Highly recommend you check it out at hackinghub.io. Matter of fact, here, I can even just show you guys it real quick. Let me pull it up. Because the cool thing about this platform is everything is free. Like, it's amazing. So here's Nahamsec's platform, created by Nahamsec and Adam Langley, both really nice people. I'm going to grab a link to this and drop it in chat. But these are like labs. You think about like Try Hack Me rooms, but it's all based on real reports from HackerOne, and they're all free. Like, seriously, there's no catch. They have a course by John Hammond and a course by Nahamsec you can pay for, but all of their hubs, if I click Start Hacking, all of these hubs that you see are completely free. You have missions, which are more like realistic long-term hubs. You do have courses here. You have Linux for Hacker Fundamentals by John, hands-on web certificate, and a hands-on certificate course by Nahamsec. So as far as my partnership with them, it is, I think we're kicking this off later this month, but I'll be giving away some vouchers for their courses, but we're having a contest. We're actually going to challenge people to go through, I think, the Vuln Lawyer mission here, right here and write a pen test report for it. And the top like 3 best reports will get selected to win free course vouchers for these courses. So that's what we're going to do. I also might do a course for them in the future. And the course that I do for them will have all these hands-on labs. That none of that part's finalized, but yeah, stay on the lookout for some collaborations between me and Nahamsec in the near future. All right, let me scroll. I lost that. All right, here we go. Hey, Tyler, I saw your post on ethical hacking in AMA yesterday. Is this on Restream anywhere? Man, you guys are just giving me easy opportunities to promote myself. I appreciate that. I'll show you real quick. Let me pause that. So if you guys do not follow me on YouTube, you're missing out. So I'll drop my YouTube link here. I do live stream all the time, and all my live streams you can catch here after the fact. So I have a bunch of standalone videos. If you go into the video tab, all about ethical hacking, some blue team stuff. But if you click my live tab, you can see all my past live streams. So I did a live stream yesterday, did some live hacking and AMA. You can watch the full stream there. I'll be streaming again tonight on my YouTube channel, but I stream all the time at night on my channel, teaching ethical hacking, working through labs, teaching how to take notes, all of course free of charge. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, you should, but that's where you can catch that live stream from yesterday. Why does it keep dropping down? Let me scroll through. We got LinkedIn user asking to see the cat. I don't know where he went, to be honest. No, I don't know if he went back upstairs. He got sick of me pushing him off my lap, but I don't see him. Tyler, have you ever done a pen test and found 0 vulnerabilities? How do you present just that to a customer? That's a really good question. Let me get my screen swapped around here. I think so. I'm trying to remember. Generally, on every pen test, I can usually find like an informational vulnerability, so it's not completely empty. But when I have a pen test that has no vulns or just a few, first, let me just back up a little bit. That's super common. When it comes to doing real pen testing, guys, you're pen testing real web apps that have full security teams behind them. There's a good chance, especially if you do the same company every single year, that you're going to be re-pen testing an app and they have fixed nearly every vulnerability you're able to find. That's okay. Totally fine. What I tell the client in the debrief is I say, good news is this is a super boring pen test report. So kudos to your team for being on top of it on security. So that's one way I communicate it. I just really congratulate the client on their hard work. I'm patching all the vulnerabilities I found in years past. But on the report itself, since there's not going to be that many vulnerabilities you report, you want to give them a long list of strengths. So instead of having like 10 vulnerabilities, give them 15 strengths. Say all the things that you checked, but all the things they did well. So number one, the client knows you really did check their application. But number two, they have a list of like pat on the back, amazing job, kudos to your team. So that's what I recommend. In the debrief, make sure you congratulate the team on designing a secure app. But in the pen test itself, instead of a list of vulnerabilities, give them a list of strengths that you found in the application to once again give them a kudos and to show them you did do your due diligence while you were working through their app. Do pen test companies get other pen test companies to pen test them? Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they need for compliance reasons, but yes. They do. A lot of compliance type stuff is you need a third party to look at your environment and to audit it. And as a pen test vendor, you are the third party vendor and you need to comply to a lot of that stuff. So yes, that can and does happen. It's not out of the ordinary. Are there any open source pen test reports you would recommend to look over to help learn report writing? Yes, actually. There is an entire GitHub. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And I found it. So I'll drop a link to this in chat. But there is an entire GitHub here that has a bunch of pen test reports you can look through, including some from Rhino, I believe, where I work. But you can click into any one of these. So if I want to see like, hey, What do pen test reports from Bishop Fox look like? You can click into these and read them, and you can see real professional pen test reports that give you an idea of what it looks like to do real pen test report writing. So that's what I'd recommend. Check out this GitHub if you've never heard of it, Public Pen Test Report. Shout out to Julio for putting that together. Let me get chat pulled back over to my main screen. Scroll through. Are GRC and pen testing future-proof with AI, or will bots take our jobs in a decade? I do not think bots will take our jobs in a decade as long as you make yourself valuable. When it comes to AI, and maybe this will change in 10 years, guys, I'm not going to try to predict the future. But when it comes to AI and LLMs, they are often a force multiplier. If you know what you're doing, they can make you incredibly efficient. You can do the work of 10 people as one person. If you don't know what you're doing, they're not going to help you. You're just going to run into AI hallucinations, and it's going to be bad, and you're going to have a bunch of M dashes in your writing. As far as future-proofing, I would rephrase this question. The best way to future-proof your job is not to work in a specific field such as GRC and pen testing. Those can be helpful, but to future-proof your job, you need to be the CEO of you. This is something Jerry harps on all the time, something I harp on as well. You don't need to be loyal to a company. Like, for real, we just saw more jobs get cut at Microsoft. The moment it meets their bottom line, your company will cut you. Let that sink in. They will lay you off. The moment it meets their bottom line, you owe your company no loyalty. What that means practically is make sure you're building your own brand, your own platform, your own name out in the industry, so that if you are laid off, you can quickly pivot to another job or do stuff on your own. I mean, for me, I'm not being laid off. I have a secure job as a pen tester, but I'm leaving my job because I want to try this on my own. Starting October 1st, I am going solo. I'm starting my own pen testing firm. I'm going to do teaching and training, kind of things I'm already doing, YouTube, streaming. I'm having all of this, but I'm trying it on my own. Can't fire me if I work for myself. You can't lay me off if I work for myself. Now, there's a lot of stress that goes into self-employment, but I'm very entrepreneurial. I love to start things. I want to see how it goes. I'm going to try it for 2 years. If I fail, oh well, I'll just get a different job. If you want to follow my journey, follow me on YouTube. I'm keeping people updated there on that entire journey. But the best way to future-proof yourself is to be the CEO of you. Make sure you're upskilling. Make sure you're doing branding. Make sure you have your own personal name out there. Do not be loyal to your company. All right? You stay at your company as long as they pay you, but you don't owe them any type of loyalty because they're not going to be loyal to you. Let me scroll through. Are you a smoker, griller, and for the 4 hamburgers and hot dogs or steak and meats? Dude, I suck at cooking. I'm sorry. I'm not your typical dude chilling in the backyard cooking, because if I do, it's going to be bad. I can grill hot dogs and burgers usually, but that's about it. I suck at cooking, guys. I can make tacos, I can make pancakes, I can make toast, and I can make hot dogs and burgers. That's about the extent of my cooking skills. So no, I don't smoke or grill. I should. I'm just not that cool. Maybe I should go to Toxic Barbecue at DEF CON and other people can grill for me. Obviously, writing your own parts is the best way to learn how to write them. What methodology should be utilized when reading reports that help you level up? One is just read it from the perspective of the security team. Look at how the pen test report explains the vulnerabilities in such a way that highlights not just the technical details, but the business impact. Because at the end of the day, if you cannot prove business impact, the C-suite isn't going to want to patch stuff. You have to show them, here is why this matters in your environment. Additionally, Antisyphon training, they have, I think, is a free webcast on pen test report writing, or over at Black Hills InfoSec. You'd have to Google it, but I think they have an entire workshop on how to write good pen test reports. Also, that's one of the courses I plan on coming out with, likely late 2025, early 2026. I'm going to create an entire course on practical report writing, where we take a vulnerable machine, we treat it like a real pen test, and I show you how to write a full pen test report based on that, every single step. So just stay tuned for that, either late 2025 or early 2026. I'm going to come out with the full course on that. Hey, Tyler, how often does the artwork on your wall rotate? Are those in your permanent collection? I'd say every 6 months. You guys can see this. This is artwork for my kids. I have 2 kids, 8-year-old and 5-year-old, and they're always making art for me. Every 6 months or so, I tell them, hey, guys, we need to refresh the artwork, and we change all of it up. And you grab a drink. What do we got? Hey, do you have any resources that guided you in building your own brand or going down that entrepreneur path? Life experience. No, so Jerry has a course. Actually, it's a live cohort he does on personal branding in Simply Cyber Academy. I don't know when that next cohort is happening. For me, though, a lot of it just comes down to life experience. So I used to do hip hop music. You can actually catch some of my music on my channel. But back in high school, I used to like travel around and perform. I think like 14, 15 years old. I started my own like record label, not even joking. I had kind of a roster of artists in the local area and had a website. We had like a legit label. I did all the recording, mixing, mastering. Like audio engineering is sort of a gift of mine. I love making music in that way. So even when I was like a teenager, I started essentially my own label, made a little bit of side cash doing music. So I did that. And then in the pastor world, I launched my own church. Now I know churches and business are separate, but it's what's called church planning in the church world. I'm not going to get preachy with you guys, but church planning is when you go to a community that has very few churches and you literally start one from scratch. So it started with just me and my wife, a lot of vision casting, a lot of budget, fundraising, all of that fun stuff, but grew the church to be self-sufficient, could pay me a salary. We had a building, we outgrew the building, we became portable, renting offices, and I was the sole like leader of all of that. So that was more entrepreneurial. So really doing this third thing is just stuff I've already been doing my entire life, launching things, trying to build stuff. I also started a community podcast back in the day for my local community. I did sponsors for that, made some side cash through that. So I've always done kind of personal branding, entrepreneurial stuff. It just fits my personality. And to be frank, or to be fair, it doesn't work for everyone. It takes a certain personality, I think, to really be an entrepreneur and to launch stuff. That said, you can always do personal branding. It comes down to being consistent with content, whether it's a YouTube channel or a blog. You need to be consistent. You need to share. You need to help other people. My best advice to develop personal branding is ask yourself the question, how can I serve another person? And as you begin to serve other people in the field and teach and mentor, the whole personal brand will follow organically and naturally. So just figure out ways you can give back to the community. The branding will follow. Oh, what up, dude? Good to have you here. Come down to Dominican Republic and I'll teach you how to cook. Bet, dude. One day. With all the information on hacking, how do you not get information overload? I do. I just take it one day at a time. One lab at a time. One learning resource at a time. The whole goal, guys, whether it's hacking or blue team or GRC or just your career in general, it's a little bit cliche, but it's true. Just focus on getting 1% better today. If I get 1% better today, that will add up over a year. That will add up even more over 5 years. That'll add up even more over a decade. That'll add up even more over multiple decades. 1% better. 1% better in web apps. 1% better in networks. And those things will add up. Can you boil water? It depends. Sometimes. All right, let me go through, guys. We're almost at the end of jaw jacking. I'm looking at mod chat. Okay, let me try to answer a few of these. On my pen testing module in university, I was taught to structure a report as an executive summary and a technical summary. Is this a good practice? Yes. I'm not going to give additional detail just so I can knock out these questions, but yes, that is a good practice. That's exactly how it works. What is your opinion on physical home labs? Virtual labs are cool, but physical labs allow you to troubleshoot issues that virtual labs may never have. If you have the money and resources and electricity, go ahead and do it. I don't have a physical home lab, though. All my stuff is virtual, and I think I've done just fine doing virtual stuff. So if you have the resources to do it, especially on the networking side of it, if you're trying to learn networking, I recommend it, but it's definitely not a requirement. And I personally don't have a physical lab. All my stuff is virtual. He says artworks from his kids. I bet he squeezes his own in there. Yeah, mine's right here. My abstract art right there. That's definitely mine from when I was in preschool. It's not. It's my son from preschool. For someone looking to get into the industry, what, in your professional opinion, would be the best use of 12 months of GI education benefits? I don't know how the GI education benefits work. I don't know if you can get cert training with that information. But I would say if you want to be a pen tester, if you can use those GI education to get the OSCP through OffSec, that's still like the gold standard in the eyes of HR. So I'd recommend that. But really, I would recommend focusing on certifications if you can. Otherwise, if you want to be in the blue team side, degrees really are helpful. If you enroll in WGU or Western Governors University, you can actually accelerate your degree and you could get your bachelor's degree in less than 12 months. And just having a bachelor's degree will help you get past HR a lot. So that's what I recommend. Red team, if you can use it for the OSCP, use it. If not, go to WGU and use your GI benefits to knock out a bachelor's. All right, guys, I see that there are more questions, but it is 8:30 or 9:30, depending on your time zone. This is the end of jaw jacking. I would love to hang out with you guys, but I have another full-time job. I have to jump over to my real job of doing pen testing. But hey, I'll just give you guys a quick promo. I will be live again tonight on my YouTube channel, starting around 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll answer more questions there. So join me on my YouTube channel. I'll drop a link one more time for my channel. But I'll be live again tonight on my channel doing some live hacking and doing Q&A and all this fun stuff. So if you asked a question and I did not get to it, join me tonight on my YouTube channel and I'll knock out more questions. But seriously, huge thank you to every single one of you taking the time to hang out with me. I missed you guys. I was here all of last week. So when Jerry was like, hey, Tyler, can you fill in on the show on Thursday? I was like, yes, I would love to come back. I don't like waking up early, but I would love to come back and hang out with everyone. So thank you all for being here. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend about the daily cyber threat briefing and my YouTube channel. I would appreciate it. Check out the courses on Simply Cyber Academy. Make sure you use the code Fireworks20 this week only to get 20% off. But thank you for watching. I will hopefully see some of you tonight over on my channel if you want to come hang out and do some hacking. But you guys have an awesome Thursday. If you're in the US, have an awesome long weekend if you get some time off. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.